This is my first ever attempt at a toy or action figure review, but I just had to share it. So this particular Optimus Prime model is one that I've looked for reviews for on YouTube. I was able to find some really good videos, the best of which actually wasn't in English, so I did my best to follow along. This is my cat, Kirby. Thank you for ruining my very first shot. But did my best to follow along. I tried to read the subtitles. It's using auto translate. Doesn't necessarily work the best. You gotta go, buddy. Hang on. Of course, first video gets cat bombed. Anyway, so this is actually a third-party toy. It's based off the MPP10 model, but it's oversized. I'm not sure if you could tell from this shot here, but this figure stands at 12 inches. The actual model name, I'll move this out here and look at this beautiful box. It's the $20 Deformation era Machine Hero. As you could tell from the model I had, it looks a lot like the character on the box. And I will say, this box is exquisite. I absolutely love it. I was blown away by it. Honestly, thought it was going to come in something very much more generic. It had a manual inside. Everything was really well sealed. It came with some accessories, which I'll show you. Overall, just very impressed with the presentation. So although this is a third-party company, one that might even produce a knockoff, this is still an original design, because although they're knocking off the MPP10 actual mold, this is an original paint job, it's original size, so this is all their work. And I really think you can see the amount of love they poured into this thing as they crafted it. And I can't really tell you just how solid this thing feels. Now, on the box it does say metal here. I don't believe there's any metal in here whatsoever. From what I could tell, the ratchet joints all appear to be plastic, but man, he is heavy. He's just really solid. He doesn't feel at all dainty or like you're going to break him. I would say transformation with him, he was a little difficult. You kind of have to maybe like push some things around as you try to transform it, especially around the chest plate. So as you've probably seen with many other, excuse me, Kirby. Jeez. So as you've probably seen with many other reviews of either MPP10 or the MPP10, which is what this is based off of, you have to pull this chest piece down, and when you put this in truck mode, the window pieces go over like the new grill that comes out of his chest, and you kind of have to push down the grill at the same time as you close the chest, and felt like I was going to break it, but no issues whatsoever. He is really solid. Where this figure probably struggles the most, it might be because it's an old mode, is in articulation. You'll see you have the limits and the leg movements here, so it can't go much further than this skirt. Interestingly enough, of all the places, it's a double jointed knee, so you can basically break Optimus's leg if you'd like, and it goes just as far backwards in the correct direction. He does have articulated hands. It's you have the three fingers, which are stuck together, then the index finger, which moves separately, and he still has the like little butterfly joint here on the shoulder, and you're able to pull it out and extend it if you'd like, or collapse it in for a better look, depending on whether or not you're working on the transformation or just want to get a slightly different pose. Head's articulated really well too. It moves nice and easy up and down, not too easy. Left and right is pretty strong. Like, you basically have to hold him and turn it, which I like, because it doesn't just kind of like bobble around. Interestingly enough, he does have a 360 waist swivel, which is impressive. He has the ankle tilt and the toe articulation, which will help with posing, because you're going to find, if you pick this up, he is so beefy, so heavy, he could be difficult to get to stand up straight. So I kind of feel like right now he's even going to fall, so I'll put him in this more of like a squatting position. So although the articulation isn't great, he's still pretty good at posing. I'm not going to find like a lot of dynamic ones, like doing a three-point stance or anything like that, but as far as just like posing with his ion blaster, he just looks really good in general. And I'll show you what the vehicle mode looks like as well. And obviously what I've omitted so far is really the star of the show and why I was drawn to this figure so much. It's that animated art style. So you have like this shadowing effect as if he's actually coming right out of the cartoon. And it reminded me a lot too of Transformers Devastation, the game that was released on Xbox One and PS4 quite a few years ago at this point. And I absolutely love that one. And when I saw this while looking at different like masterpiece options or knockoffs, it really stood out to me as the one I had to get. You know, I love the window, and this has been done before on some other figures, and I've also seen like a smaller, also I believe like a Waging manufactured one like this one, a smaller one with some more of like a cel-shaded look, but this looks like just a more of a like just light shading. I don't know if you would call this actual cel-shaded. And they have the window grill. Yeah, the dark shadows that goes on the abdomen area. You'll see it on the legs and a variety of different like colors of blue. You even get it on the back. I mean, they really did a great job making him look like he just came right out of the cartoon. And I just fell in love with it the moment I saw it. So I ordered this thing on eBay. He ran, I believe, $155 with free shipping. It's a lot. It's not inexpensive, but I will say for the quality that you're getting when you actually get them in your hands, you see why. You can find them cheaper. On Amazon, he was going for about $142, but shipping took longer, and I had a trip planned, and I wasn't sure if I'd be home when it arrived. I wanted to get here early, so I spent a little bit more money from someone who would ship it faster, and they did. It came in actually a day ahead of schedule, which I greatly appreciate. And I'll show you what the vehicle mode looks like. It's just as impressive. One thing which I think is actually pretty cool too, he doesn't have the silver stripe, which I always liked, but it's funny when you go back to the old cartoons, strange how you misremember things. The 1986 movie in particular, I remember watching that as a kid multiple times. There's no stripe in the vehicle mode, only in the robot mode. So he doesn't have it here on the arms because it doesn't show up in the actual vehicle mode, but I will show you what that looks like here. And I'll do my best, since this is my first time capturing a video like this, to try to transform it on camera. I imagine it's going to go pretty rough. Some of the parts are a little bit stiff, but we'll go ahead and give that a go. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull out the ion blaster. Oh, and just like the figures before him, like the one he's based off of, you will find that it clips inside his hand, and also it has the ability to actually collapse and fit right inside his little backpack there. So really it's just an enlarged MP10, but the star of the show for me is this animated styling. So I'm going to go ahead and do my best to collapse this thing first, and we'll slip it in the back. It is a little finicky. There it is. Okay, think I got it. Nice and compact. So just like the original MP10, you pull this out, slip this in the back. It's pretty snug, so you might have to give it a little bit of a push. Hear that nice little snap, and this closes. And you can just hear with everything, like things don't necessarily snap shut, but they're a nice snug fit, and you can like hear that tightness with this. It is very solid. So I'm going to do my best to show you the transformation here, and I guess we will work on the legs first. I guess I should point out the legs, they move quite easily from side to side, but forward and back the ratchets are quite tight. The knees are not quite as tight, and there's a lot more kind of like I'll say like points that it'll ratchet to, and there's also like a knee swivel, which is really cool. You actually have obviously your elbow, the wrist can spin around. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing transformed. So I'll do my best to follow what they had in the instructions. So the first thing they're going to have you do is actually collapse the legs after you fold back these panels. So let me just take care of that first. I'll do my best to capture it. If this transformation ends up being a mess on camera, what I might just do is cut to the finished product, and any MP10 you would have seen up until this point would be representative of what this is going to look like. So you have these little buttons you push here so you can collapse the legs, and they go in real easy. Works great. It just did a phenomenal job with that. And clip these together and push these ankles in. They actually slide inward so they can clip together a little bit better. This part's a little bit tricky, and we could always finagle that at the end, but might as well just do the toes while we're here. Alright, that is good enough. We're going to turn it around, and what we're going to do now is basically just get him bent backwards. So fold the hands in, make sure the fist is closed. Pop out this little door, fold the hands in. It rotates better when you go upward for whatever reason. Close that in. Give him some stubbier arms on each side. Collapse them in. All right. We're going to open the chest. This is one of the parts that, man, it just quite snug. There we go. Once you get one open, it's easier. And he did come with a matrix chamber, which is awesome. So the matrix is entirely die cast, which is really cool. So this thing in here. All right, pop this off. Great, now I'm struggling here. There we go. All right, now we have them opened up. We're gonna move these out of the way, and you're gonna find that these back flaps and the backpack start moving with them. You want to open up these doors before you rotate these around, because otherwise that becomes impossible. I'm going to rotate this around. You can hear those ratchets turning with it. Alright, and probably a good time to actually snap this middle piece in here. That'll keep it nice solid there. Alright. Pull this one out. Pull out these levers. Open up. Just kind of get them out of the way. They're eventually going to collapse in. We do our best to line up the tire so it makes sense. Alright, now we're going to pull this down. Pull this piece out. So this is the part where it gets a little bit tricky. Make sure you push the head in. Not that far. This part with the doors, look. If I just go ahead and close them, there's definitely not enough clearance there. So kind of have to push this and kind of force that clearance, but once it's in there, kind of have the force of it just holding it in place. Very nervous to do that the first time around. Was not comfortable with it, but eventually I had to get over it. Now realizing I was doing it right, it's just difficult. The arms can be a little bit difficult too, trying to basically squeeze them in there, because we have to pull down this piece on the elbow, and that's going to slide in here to collapse this area, and also swing it around. And he is just bulky and not the easiest in the world to get in there. And maneuver these things out of the way. Oh boy. Okay. I think we got that pretty well in there. What am I missing? Okay, it doesn't quite feel like it's off, but it feels a little spongy. I'm going to go ahead and try this side now. Collapse that down. We weren't quite ready for that, so here. Get these out of the way. Alright. Now this side. Forgot about the elbow piece. Sorry about my clunky transformation here. Oh boy. Okay. Try to get clearance in there. It is. If you didn't know better, you almost would think they don't want you. That's not supposed to go in that way, but alright, so clearly I did something a little bit off, because looks like the one arm went in easier than at least the first arm went in easier, but it looks okay. Looks okay. That might still be doable. What did I do wrong? Alright, I guess that feels pretty good. Just give it a little squeeze. This thing's rugged, so I don't want to say you can be rough with it, but you try to be careful because you spend a lot of money on something like this, but it is pretty darn tough. So we're going to fold these up, kind of get them in the right position, and we're going to pull this. This is one of the other tricky parts here. Oh boy, because we're going to, having some sort of clearance issue here. Oh, that's funny. The arm that went in well, look, didn't quite make the clearance. So let's pull the arm out. Of course it didn't. Now I'm gonna try to get it back in there. Wow. Wow. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Looks like I got the clearance there. On this side, finally looking somewhat normal. Clip this in. You kind of gotta fold down the front. Use two hands and kind of fold it into each one. Collapse this. Wow. All right, and I like to do this part last because it's really not necessary and these things can get in the way. So move these little canisters up here. They just kind of lightly, you can really force them in there, but that might pull the legs apart a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just kind of lightly position them in there. Oh boy. Come on. Whew. Oh, he's worth it though. All right. Last thing, we are missing these little wheel panels. I'm going to just flip these out and down and expose the wheels. And there you have it. Do a little squeeze, make sure everything's a little bit tighter. Man, he is tough. Here, let's get the angle a little bit better there. But look at that. He looks like he came right off the cartoon. It is ridiculously pretty. Here, let me tighten that up a little bit. I mean, look at that. Of course, you know, just like the original one, quite obviously there are feet back here. Tail lights still look pretty good, but man, the cab just looks awesome. Literally looks like it came off a cartoon or a comic book page, and there's a shadow hitting on this side with light focused here. I also like, and you'll see this in the robot mode too, the lighter shades. So this is almost like a pink, just like when you're looking at a vehicle. When the sun hits it, the color seems to change. You know, if you ever look at your vehicle, whatever color it is, it's never flat. It's very dynamic based on how the light hits it, and this is no different. Again, love the windows. I love that they also attention to detail to shape the grille correctly. They put the red right there. So on that piece, it just looks so good. And man, I cannot tell you just how heavy this thing is. And these smokestacks also adjust too. So I'm not sure if they're supposed to be down or up. When you push them down, you do see the bottom stick out. So I feel like that's the kind of the right way when you're in the alt mode. Otherwise, you pull them straight up if you want them taller, I guess. I'm going to leave them down because I think that makes more sense, so they look more functional. Whereas in robot mode, you would pull them up just so they don't get in the way of any articulation. But it's funny, I thought the robot mode was definitely going to be the star of the show, but the more I look at it, the more I love this alt mode too. It's just unbelievable. I'll show you also some of the inside of the box in case you're curious. So, this is the box it came in. It came in great shape all the way from China. Let's see if I can get this thing open. Oof. insert that sat on top of it. I just love this presentation of this thing. So this little cover on top of the box, I'm just going to take that off. Okay. This manual came inside. So it has the instructions in there. The one accessory I don't care about is a little dude it comes with. I don't know who that's supposed to be. The box tells you. Anyway, it comes a little guy that you can insert inside the cab, but that's not really why I got this thing. I don't care about that. It also came with a very animated axe, which I'll show you here too. So it's like an orangey red color. Just for some reason I thought I was going to get a much lesser quality box, just something real cheap, maybe even just like styrofoam with some plastic, like that's it. Like, I did not expect for this thing to be this nice, really. One of the things that also impresses me about this, especially the design, is that it doesn't come with any Autobot logos on the shoulder due to copyright, but I don't notice it just because how good this looks. Oh my goodness, I forgot. The side mirrors pop out, and so you want to collapse them in. You want to collapse those things in robot mode so they don't get in the way. But in vehicle mode, you definitely want to pop them out. So look at that. Thought it couldn't get any better, and then it did. Just absolutely love it. This, in my opinion, is the definitive Optimus Prime. It's just like it came right out of the show, and I absolutely love it. Let me go ahead and grab that accessory I was just talking about. So this is the other accessory. So this is his axe. It just kind of slides on his hand. It's a little flexible. It's kind of like a rubbery material. Speaking of which, tires are definitely rubbery, which I really appreciate because it rolls a lot quieter. You'll see it rolls really nicely too. And you know, like the plastic would just feel cheap in comparison, especially at something this size. So let's get this thing back into robot mode, and I'll try to pop this on. Also give you one more look at how gorgeous this figure is. Well, let's see if we can do this a little bit smoother than the transition into it. So, all right, so basically just going to work in reverse, pop these things out. So I am going to use the cloth on my shirt to pull this out because I don't want to jam my fingernail into it. I don't have any toy to safely do it, and it is in there snug. So give me one moment. All right, one side, other side. Sorry. So anyway, that's the only way I trust myself to do that, because I want to minimize any damage I might do to this thing. So pop this open, get some nice clearance there, and I'll make sure this video can capture these steps as best I can. So we're just going to pop this out, get these out of the way. And again, since we're working in reverse, let's get these canisters out of the way too. Really no need for them to be there. We'll work on the legs mostly though on the following steps. So, all right, let's pull these stiff arms out. Ugh. Okay. So work it out. Man, he is strong and stubborn. All right. So we're gonna fold on the elbow, get that out of the way. And okay. Let's just, oh, all right. That made me nervous. Nothing broke, but that definitely made me nervous. All right, so just leave that there. And the other one, oh, was it the, no it was? I think it was, had something to do with the smokestack. You gotta make sure you get those up and out of the way. You don't want them hanging down when you move it around. So probably snapped a little bit there. No worries. All right. Oh, that was a lot easier. Yep. So that's most likely what that was. I tell you, it is pretty rugged. Okay, so I'm just gonna set it down. Chest is easier to pop open this way. All Now, I'm going to collapse this in. Again, get another little look at our matrix in there. How on earth you're supposed to get that out after you get it in, I don't know. Probably need a tool of some kind. You have to trust me that's die cast in there. I'm just going to leave it in now, just for Sandy's sake. Close the chest cavity and just kind of get some clearance for this. Pull the arms down so we look symmetrical, I guess. Oh, wow, okay. Whew. All right, and now we're going to rotate this around almost like it doesn't want to. Oh boy. Whew. All right. Why did that sound so rough? Yikes, okay. Anyway, somehow it's okay. And we'll go ahead and collapse this in. Collapse this in. Make sure the arms are forward a little bit. Fold this up. Close it. Alright, looking good. So now we're going to bring this up. Pull it out from this joint here. That way we can flex it up. And maybe we move these out a little bit, away a little bit. Open the chest just so we can see. And that's in now. Collapse those in. Collapse those in. Fix the head. Arms looking pretty good. Open up these doors. And rotate down, I guess this time. These parts are really snug. But you gotta work them a little bit, you know, and then they eventually become easy. But out of the box, this was almost impossible to clip in. And I don't squeeze it too hard though, because if it was like totally flush, it might be hard to then remove. So I think we are all clean here for the upper body. So what we'll just do is just turn the waist. This is where it gets easier. We'll bring this around, closing the wheel. A lot of these things, especially these panels, they're just really satisfying. They feel solid. Again, like some of the parts are stiff, but I cannot believe how rugged he is. And pull his leg out and pull the other one out, and they are locked in place. Close this up. It just goes so nicely. Some of this stuff, at least. Pop the feet out and collapse it in a little bit. So you'll see that because I had it pushed out for the tow mode, or sorry, for the truck mode, and collapse that in. I think we got him. And we're going to collapse that shoulder in a little bit just for appearances. I want to add just ever so slightly. Alright. This is our big guy. Back to where he should be. Alright. We're going to try to put this on. So let's see how we do. This could just push. Oh boy, yeah, that barely wants to go on there. It works better on the other hand. It's kind of position stupid anyway. So let's see, might be meant for the right hand. Yeah, thumb definitely goes in the larger cavity there. And of course, once you have it on, you can spin it around a little better, but it's just seem more naturally fit on the other hand. And again, our weapon is in here and has that nice little button you just press to snap it out. And look, it even has the kind of like a shading effect on this. So this is one thing that's a little bit different about this is that it's shiny, but that's okay because it's the Ion Blaster. But he's like more of a matte finish, which I think makes a lot of sense for the look they're going for. And you'll see the gun has these little tabs which plug into the hands to keep it nice and secure in there. I don't think I've opened this hand yet, and boy, oof, okay, it's pretty stiff. So let's see if we can tab this in. That went in pretty nicely. If you squeeze the fingers closed too hard, you'll probably pop it out of position like I just did. But if you're just patient with it, and then once it's in pretty good. So if you whack it around, it probably will come loose, but it's in there pretty good. So now let's give our man a more dynamic pose. Fix that toe a little bit, but how's that for an Optimus Prime? I think he is just tremendous, and I hope you think so too. Anyway, if you're interested in picking this one up, I'll put some links in the description of some different places to get him for $150. I think he's absolutely worth it. You'll see too. You'll notice the little, I'll call them ears, are a little out of position. So these do rotate, which is really cool. So you rotate them forward, backward, put them straight up, whatever. So just a little bit more articulation there. But no, it's hard not to like this thing. It's just such a classic look, and they got it so right with this. It's awesome. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Thanks for bearing with me for my first figure review, especially with the cat interruptions. Not sure if I'll be doing any others, but this one I thought was worth it and inspired me to do so. Anyway, thanks again.